adventure day. Go for a long hike. A hike is the same as walking. It's just kind of on a trail. I sometimes think that when we're going through a hard experience or just an experience that feels really intense or big, there's so much we know. We all have so much innate wisdom, but we can forget. And the wisdom that we have, or the advice that might really be what we need to hear, doesn't always come from us because our focus is on all of these other things. It's just amazing how you can hear something that perhaps you've heard, but somebody else says it to you in just the right moment and it really lands and it's really what you needed to hear. And sometimes when we hear that thing more than once and we're like, wait, this keeps coming up, or there's a message that you keep hearing or a book you keep being recommended or something like that, I think it's beyond the messenger as well. I think it's the universe also saying, hey, this is what you need to know. It will make sure you get these messages and it will continue to deliver them to you in whatever way it's able to. I was listening to a podcast last night. Marianne Williamson was on it. I actually used to go and listen to her speak on the Course in Miracles in LA a few years ago now. I used to go almost every week with a friend of mine and she would speak on it and it was amazing. It was at the start of, I don't know the start, but in the first few years of my real kind of spiritual awakening. And she had so much wisdom and just said things that were so expansive for me. They really expanded my mind and my consciousness and my learning. So she was on this podcast last night that I was listening to. And it was just what I needed to hear because she's very involved in the political realm as well. However, she does such an amazing job of being able to like take that step back and observe and be like, who are we as spiritual beings having this human experience? And even if she's not saying that, like that's what I'm gathering from her. She was being interviewed and the person asking the questions asked, like, what about when we don't have the pings, like the pings that are our inner guidance, our intuition telling us and guiding us? Like, what about when things are so overwhelming or overstimulating that we can't even tune into those? Marianne said, essentially, it's always there, but we are not allowing ourselves to kind of quiet enough. And I don't know, my contacts are dry, by the way, but I don't know if that is exactly what she said, but like that is what I gathered from it. And I remember years ago when I've also lived in LA, probably around the same time, there was a woman who was sharing that at times like that connection feels so powerful and aligned and steady to her intuition. And then there's times where it's like, man, where did it go? It's like turns off. And the other person said essentially that it's not that our intuition or our higher power or God or our pings have gone anywhere. It's not that those things are what is not there. It's that our perspective or our focus has shifted in a different direction, and we're the ones that have moved our attention away from that. That's what I was reminded of listening to that podcast last night as well. If you've watched any of my other videos on here, you know that I've just been in this challenging season, and I feel like I could look back to a video I made 6 months ago and I still, in a sense, feel just as like there's still certain things I don't have answers to. I do believe that that is a little bit because I'm not supposed to have the answers yet. We don't need to have the answers to everything at all times. Like that kind of defeats just experiencing life as a journey. But I can also say that I have been in such an overwhelming and overstimulating season of life. And I've also allowed myself to get a little bit caught up in some of the things that feel very overstimulating that really don't even have anything to do with maybe some of the things I have to make decisions on. And now I'm like, do I have to make decisions? Like how much of this is actually just going to unfold because I have set the intentions and I've taken the action? But she even made a comment of like pouring yourself a tea or a coffee and sitting. Don't do anything else. Just sit. Just be. Just being. And why? is it so hard sometimes? You know, I live for those moments. I love those moments. I have learned how important that is for me, but I haven't been taking that time as much. And one of the reasons I've made all of these decisions the way I have up until this point is because I live my life from that place, because I want that deeper experience in life. I don't want to be go, go, go and busy all the time. And I look forward to not being a part of the corporate world and things like that, even though I still am at the moment. Sitting and being matters so much to me. But why is it that even just doing that for 5 minutes, literally putting our alarms on for 5 minutes, why is it hard for us to do that? And what's interesting is, in my experience, once I do it, I'm like, oh my gosh, and I can feel that connection. I can feel the calmness set in and that peace within me. It is just this resistance that I feel to just starting it. Isn't that kind of true with so many things? How we do one thing is how we do everything. And I don't think that we're always once in resistance, always in resistance. For me, I'm not always in resistance, but this season and the things I've allowed my attention to go to, and having quite a bit of fear coming up, has made it so that resistance that I've had before, like my behaviors around it, are surfacing. And so right now, that feels a little bit more like a theme that I have been experiencing. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter what kind of spiritual journey you're on or how much inner work you've done. We are all human still, and we are all having these experiences. And at this particular moment in time and in history, I think it's really hard to not be aware of it, regardless of how you're interpreting it and feeling and experiencing it. The world is very loud right now. So even that in itself, it doesn't matter all of your growth. We're all going to have moments of experiences where things feel overwhelming or stressful, or we get caught up in fear-based thinking. And I think it's very much, though, about being conscious of that, noticing it, recognizing it. Thankfully, I'm kind of in that place where I'm like, okay, I realize that there is just, I need more of those moments where I am just sitting quietly with my cup of coffee. For me, it's usually coffee. It's such a simple concept. And again, it's like something, I know this in theory. You know this in theory. Most of the advice that we get are those moments where we're like, oh my gosh, yes, are things that like we already know. But when things are going on, when the world is loud, when our minds, essentially it's our minds, when our minds are loud, it's like creates almost like an energy, like an electricity that blocks out the things that we already know from just coming into our awareness, surfacing. I just reposted this quote. You will be free when you realize the cage is made of thoughts. And I wasn't making the connection when I was talking about this, but just how true that is for what I'm saying right now also. And something I've reflected on in the past as well, but it's just really landing for me at the moment. And then I really love this one too. Remember that the minute you take your first step into the life of your dreams, the first to greet you there will be fear. Nod. Keep walking. And I think that, again, I've talked a lot about like we can choose love or fear, expansion or contraction. I live by that. But that does not mean that because I'm aware of it, I'm always going to live from a place of love or expansion. And I really also think that I am in this portal right now of in between, and there's so much I'm kind of working through, and I'm becoming aware of some of that. And that the fear is actually not because I'm regressing, but it's like the fear is surfacing so that I can let it out, so that I can walk through it and say like, yes, I see you, I know you're there, but I'm not living from this place. And it's coming up because it's shedding, it's purging. Oh, And then this last one I just quoted or posted. Recognize that unlearning is the highest form of learning. I love that too. I have done some public speaking and I have talked about how it's like this unraveling of myself back to myself. It is not about what I need to do more of or learn more of, but it's actually the things I need to unlearn, because what is underneath all of that is actually me, my most authentic self. It's the limiting beliefs and the scarcity and the conditioning and things that we've all been exposed to, that it is by unlearning those things and recognizing beliefs that perhaps we've identified with, and we take the time to say, oh wait, I don't actually believe this. It is the unlearning of those things that we really learn and discover and reconnect to who we are at our core. Because I think that that's always who we are. It's always who we've been. It's not that we have to become who we are. We are already that. It is the unbecoming of everything we're not. And I will leave you with this last one. I can do nothing for you but work on myself. You can do nothing for me but work on yourself. Ram Dass. The only other one that had the person who said it is Rumi. Recognize that unlearning is the highest form of learning. The other two were unknown. I'll wrap this up, but when I was younger, I had this book of quotes that every time I heard a quote I loved, I would write it down in this little journal. And it has always been one of my things. It's been a way that I really love to express myself and what I'm feeling or experiencing. And I will tell you, one of my absolute favorite ones is, I am not what you think I am. You are what you think I am. I think that's one of the most, wow. The depth in that. The first time I saw that, it felt so, it expressed so much. It does. It expresses so much. Anyway, I leave you with that. Share with me anything you want to share. I would love to hear from you. Any reflections based off of what I've just said. I didn't plan on sharing all of this, but that's the beauty and joy in, I'm feeling more aligned right now. I am feeling more connected to myself. And it's not necessarily because I've done so much. It's because I haven't done so much. It's because I've kind of surrendered to certain things and surrendered to this unknowing, and kind of set down the stuff that's just been feeling so big for me. And I'm really finding joy in these little moments in my day. And I'm so out of sorts. I don't have my normal regular routine. I'm not in my own home right now. I don't have my own home right now. I sold my own home, and I'm in between right now. And I'm in between because I'm making a very conscious decision of what is next. But it is these little things that I'm finding throughout my day that are my creature comforts that I need, that I love, and really recognizing and learning that it doesn't have to be done the same way every day to still have that thing that really is comforting for me. Like a fresh glass of water, a warm meal, making my favorite coffee for myself because I can move my machine around and bring it with me. It is reading a really good book at night. By the way, it's April 9th as I am recording this. And every year I make a goal to read 12 books. And that's honestly just a penciled in thing, simply to show up and keep myself accountable, especially in the seasons when I get a little off track. But I read every night before bed. And this year I've already read 11 books. I finished a book last night, and I'm just really loving that it's become, I'd say I've been doing this for the last 4 or 5 years, the goal of the 12 books. And I loved reading as a kid. And I went through some years where I wasn't really reading very much, and I felt like I didn't even have hobbies, but reading is definitely one of them. And I just love what reading has given me, and being so just immersed in a book and knowing that I'm going to finish them. How often are you not in a season of reading and it's just so hard to finish a book for some reason? And I've been loving going to the library. It's like one of my favorite things. I just love it. What is a good book you've read lately? I would love to hear. I would love to talk about this more too, but I am not going to go down that right now because I will make this way too long. But the book I read last night that I finished is actually more of a mystery, and it was good. I loved the writing, but it's also the kind of book that I think I don't need to be reading books like that at the moment. I just love when you pick one up and they're just so good and you have to find out what happens, and so you keep reading it. But I think I need something that's softer and gentler and just going to fill me up with hope and possibility versus, you know, that mystery and just that energy. Although it's fun sometimes, I think it's maybe not what I need in my next book. I cannot wait to talk to you next time. I'd love to hear from you. Say hi below, and I will see you soon. Bye.